welcome to the Pearl L. Crawford Memorial Library Board of Trustees meeting, Tuesday, June 22nd, 2021. And may we start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Ben was going to have an extreme close-up during
So I'd like to take a moment to have a moment of silence in honor of Hugh Crawford Jr., who is been a benefactor for decades, I believe, to our
Generations.
Pearl. Okay, generations is a much better term, for the Pearl Crawford Memorial Library. Thank you.
Just one little thing is that
Yes.
our Pearl was his mother.
Yes.
Pearl Crawford, who we are named after, was his mother, who was a trustee in her own right in her day.
I actually have I have the ballot with his mother, with his mom as a trustee.
Actually, she was on their building committee too.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Many, many connections.
Yes. So we will start with the review of meeting minutes from May 25th. You all received a draft in your email. Hopefully you had a chance to read it.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
I'm not really good at that.
Actually,
I'm not good
You
at
just
that.
don't like that
Actually,
line.
it was any discussion, but I didn't think there'd
Yeah,
be
you-
any.
Nobody said I was good at this. Okay.
Yes, we did.
So, now that that's in review of meeting minutes from June 7th, 2021, I will accept a motion.
I will make a motion to approve
Second.
as accepted, as
Second.
approved, as presented.
Yes.
Get the right verb in there.
A second?
Second.
Second. No further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
See, maybe I have to have two things right in a row to get it right. I don't know.
Well, we have good minutes, so they're very easy to say yes.
Mhm.
Yes, that is true. I'd like to take this time to thank Harrison Records. He has he didn't run for re-election this time, so I want to thank him for his time on the board. He was very helpful in any decisions and projects we were working on his 3 years, and very happy and appreciative of his volunteering of his time to help with any decisions made for our Pearl. And I also want to thank Pat for her guidance and slapping my hand when it needed to be, and gentle nudge, as Pat wants to step away from being secretary on the board this year. We thank you for everything that you do, because you do a lot. So, and I also would like to recognize our new member of the board who was elected. Nikki, could you pronounce your last name?
Yes, Kucherov.
Kucherov. So, welcome, Nikki. And if you wouldn't mind, tell us a little bit about yourself and why did you want to become a member of the board?
Sure. So I've always gone to libraries. It was always the place that my mother took me, my grandparents took me. Love to read. So of course, when I had my son, it was like library, and now, he picks his books out. He's so excited. He brings his books that are going back. He can get the same number. He's just pumped to go to the library every week. Can we go? Even this morning, like, can we go? And we were supposed to go today, but it's like, we're going to story time tomorrow. We'll go tomorrow. So we're there all the time, and we're always talking to Miss Lita, and we're always talking as well, and just like, so I kind of know of the projects going on, and they reach out and they're like, there's an opening on the board, and you're always here, and I was like, there's a board? Like, okay, yes. So I'm really excited to join and to be part of making our library a great place to bring our kids and to be.
Yes.
So.
Thank you.
It's
Thank you
fabulous.
very
It's
much.
nice to have a mom on
Glad to
the
have
board
Mom,
too.
Yeah.
of a younger person, it's
Of
fabulous. Thank you.
ones, yeah.
So represent all the mothers.
Yeah.
There you go.
That's right.
It's always good.
Been a while for us.
The next part is reorganization of the board.
Take nomination.
Yeah, I'll accept nominations, if anyone.
I'd like to nominate Joyce Narodzinski to continue as chairman of the board.
I'll second that.
Let me just make notes of this as we go, so.
Any other nominations?
Okay, Joyce, do you accept the nomination?
I do accept the nomination.
So how does chairman work? Is that like a year? I was reading there's a chairman, there's a vice chairman, and there's co-chairman, and then so you nominate every year?
Yes, every June, after the June election, there's a board reorganization. So that's the first meeting after the election, essentially, is when that happens. Okay. So, anyway, I guess that's all in favor?
Or is
Aye.
Aye.
All right. And I would like to, I actually didn't make that as a motion, but it would be a motion to nominate Joyce. And I'd like to make a motion to nominate Ben as vice chair, to remain in this role as vice chair.
I
I
second.
accept. Wow.
Okay, Kathy second. Accept, okay,
accept.
and accepts the nomination.
any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
And then we have role of secretary.
Role of secretary,
Are there any nominations?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think at this time we don't have any nominations. I kind of think I'd like to table it until, so that we can discuss it and do it. I'm hoping that you'll do tonight.
I will.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat.
Thank you, Pat. And we can, it can be further discussed and voted on at the next meeting, if that's okay. Is everyone in favor of, it's
Tabling.
okay,
Yeah.
tabling it till?
Yes.
Okay. Any further discussion on that?
No.
Congratulations to our officers.
All right, so the next thing on the agenda is the approval of meeting dates, the meeting schedule for now until next June. Does anyone have any discussion?
At this moment, no, but we always seem to change at
Yeah.
least one during the year.
Yeah.
Well, I found it interesting that we got information about the fact that Zoom meetings can happen through next year. It's been approved by the governor for
Yeah.
that to happen. And I was thinking, at some point, usually around January, February, we never know what the weather's gonna be.
Mhm.
So.
It's an option?
That's an option, I think, for us.
Well, I just worry about Drusilla getting
Well,
home at
Drusilla
night.
could
I
get
don't
home,
wanna-
if
You
it's
know,
gonna be.
that would be the
if
only
it's
thing,
gonna
'cause
be
she
bad-
runs it.
If it's gonna be bad, I'm guessing the library will be closed anyway,
Yeah.
and you can do the Zoom from home, so.
Is that a possibility that you could do it from home?
Yeah, we'll have to, I wasn't sure if we were gonna renew the library's Zoom account, but in that case, we'll go ahead and renew it for another year.
Yeah, it's another.
Do you like it as an option for me, for things that, activities going on?
Yeah, actually, it's been, we're getting more and more people participating in
Yeah.
Zoom events, and it is a nice option to have.
Yeah,
So-
I like it as an option, I mean,
Yeah.
you know. some
And if
things
we have a
don't plan
speaker
way.
that can't make it to Dudley, but they want to present, or we can get somebody,
Mhm.
a talent maybe from
Right.
some other state,
Yep.
that we can
Kind
still
of
the program.
expand your
through-
availability to do something
Yeah.
if you can do it through Zoom.
Mm.
Yeah, well, we're also seeing more and more libraries, and I've done it a couple of times, sharing their Zoom events with the other CW Mars libraries.
Oh, nice.
And they'll be like, hey, we still have openings in this,
Mhm.
so if your patrons are interested,
Mhm.
which you might not want to drive to like Athol, but
Right.
you can
Right.
Zoom easily
Nice.
enough.
Interesting.
I did a Zoom for
Options.
a New Hampshire library. I think it was Portsmouth, New Hampshire, had done one of the foraging Zooms, and they had this really well-known guy from Massachusetts who, and I just was popped up on my Facebook thing,
Mhm.
and they must have like 200 people on there.
Wow.
Like it was just
Yeah.
from all across the country.
The Coventry,
Awesome.
Connecticut Library has about 70 people they have a Zoom series with naturalists from the state parks, and they must have 70 people every time attend. I don't know how she does it.
Wow.
Wow.
Options, that's great.
Yeah, it is, it's
Some-
nice to have it as an.
Something good has to come out of this.
Yeah, that's right, that's That's right.
I think it's good for lectures, but in terms of like the exciting things like the birds of prey,
Visual.
it's so much more exciting when the birds are there, you know,
Yeah.
or like,
Yeah.
you know, a singer,
Yeah.
songwriter.
The birds of prey
We
were
are
in
seeing a lot
Yeah.
of presenters, like Jungle Jim, who did our summer reading kickoff yesterday. You know, we're seeing a lot of performers like that who are getting better and better at using the
Yeah,
format, because it was a
okay.
learning curve for them as well.
Mhm.
But they're getting, like, he was very interactive. He had all the kids doing stuff just as they would have in person. You know, so that was a nice, like, you can tell that people are getting more and more
Yeah.
use, and what Zoom can do.
Yep.
Mhm.
So-
Haven't we all learned a lot about technology this year?
Yes, we
Yeah.
have.
And
The only
the
winner.
potentials.
Whether we like it
Yeah.
or not.
So does anyone have any questions about any of the dates? They're always the fourth Tuesday of the month, 6:15 typically here. But I would think in the next year, we may have meetings on site with the project that's going to be moving forward. So, and I have no problem with the November, December meeting even being combined, calling in a November, December meeting.
Mhm.
That worked
We
out
did
well
that.
last year.
Yeah, it did work out.
Yeah.
So I will accept a motion.
I
don't think we
You
have
don't
to.
need
No.
one?
No.
See?
No.
I still don't know what I'm
It's
saying.
It's okay. No, it's just one of, it's
Yep.
It's just a
not-
nice thing for
Everyone's-
people to plan with.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's plans, and I'll send this over to the town clerk, so they
Mhm.
can
I was gonna
post
say,
it
do you
for
wanna
year.
send it to
And-
Lori?
And I do send it,
Okay.
yeah, to our videographers too.
All right, so that is done. On to Drusilla.
So for programs, summer reading kicked off yesterday. The first in-person program happens tomorrow, as Nicole mentioned, Storytime Outdoors. The temporary fencing went up. It's all currently lying down because the buckets were filling with water. But my boss at my other job, my other life, very kindly loaned 40-pound stage weights that are sitting in each bucket so that they don't fall
nice.
over as readily.
Mhm.
He didn't want to know what I needed them for. I just said, can I borrow them for the library? He was like, I don't want to know what you're doing with them, but yes. I'm not sure what he thinks I'm doing with them.
So
New
would the
workout
water
program.
weigh it down, or no, that's not good?
Well, we don't want standing water because that
Oh,
breeds mosquitoes.
mosquitoes,
So
yeah.
the water, tomorrow morning, I'll tip all the water out of the one or two
Yeah.
that are still up and then put them, but they have weights in them.
Yep.
Um,
And do you think it'll work?
They actually stayed up pretty well
Good.
yesterday, which was quite breezy.
It was wonderful.
We only had one come down, and that was the one that doesn't have a brick in it. So-
Oh, okay. We can get some stones or something.
So it, stage weights are 40 pounds, so that, and they're
Should be
fairly
enough.
compact, so that was why I thought those would be the best to do.
And weren't the buckets filled with cement?
They've got cement, but they're in the bottom like 4 or 5 inches.
Oh.
So when
Tilt
the
up.
wind
Yeah.
hits the sign, they
Oh, it
tilt and
goes
over
right
they
over.
go. So the stage weights, which are about this long, kind of make
Perfect.
the weight go a little higher. So we have those until mid-October. I have to bring them back
Okay.
before the October show. But that seems to be working, and George helped me set that up, so I appreciate that, because me wrestling with temporary fencing myself is going to get interesting. But we have as of yesterday afternoon, we had, I think, 35 children signed up, and as of today, we have 40 adults and teenagers, which is some kind of record.
Yes.
I'm sure tomorrow, I know we have a couple people who are coming to things tomorrow that have not yet signed up, so I'm sure we'll get some more kids tomorrow. But so far, the kickoff event yesterday went very well. I kind of stuck my head. And I would like to just give a shout out if anyone needs a performer. Jungle Jim, as he's known, he was actually diagnosed with cancer a couple of weeks ago and
Oh.
had surgery 2 weeks ago and still did the interactive program.
Wow.
So he deserves like all the business as far as I'm
Yeah.
concerned.
Yeah.
But so we have, as I said in my report, or wrote in my report, we have a number of children's activities.
Excuse me.
And a lot of those are already full, so we're working on figuring
Mm-hmm.
out if we can, some of them we can't, but if we can add some sessions and try to figure out how to juggle that. But
How will you be doing, like the petting zoo?
the petting zoo is in 20-minute shifts, so you have to
Oh,
sign
okay.
up for a specific shift, and it's, again, a limited number of people per shift.
Mm-hmm.
And you get the chance to pet the animals and feed the animals, and then that group goes and the next group comes. So it's spaced out 20-minute shifts,
Okay.
which I gather they've been doing
Probably right
you know,
along.
right along.
Yeah.
So they've got it down to a science for
Mhm.
that. And the knitters start up this week. The Fells room has been
Oh, boy.
the Fells room has been dusted after a year of being used for storage. It was
The knitters
kind
are
of a
happy,
mess.
and we're happy to have them back.
And we have gotten one or two. So the Dudley, the Conservation Commission is using the Fells room next week, I think. So one or two small groups are coming back. You know, we still can't have 50 people in there, but the smaller groups like that are starting to come in. So.
And what is the limit on that room if people wanted to use it?
I have to do the math again because I've done the math for the local history room, but I think it's limited to 20
Okay.
for the size. It's like the state guidelines for spacing are still so many people per 1,000 square feet, and it's like.
Get on that, Priscilla. Go measure it.
Hey, I did the local history room and figured out that we can't have more than 6 in there. 6 is pushing it. Like we should really only have 5. So the Fells room, I think I figured out that it was 20.
On your
But
purple
so far we
calculator.
haven't had anybody want.
Yeah.
The 2 people that have called asking to use a space, I've asked how many people were there, and they, 5 or 6. Okay, fine, we can put you in the Fells room.
And is that when you walk in the
Right to the
large
right.
room to
Yes.
the right?
Mhm. Yeah.
You used to pack in like
Oh yeah.
Oh, it's
100
Yeah.
people.
It's got a capacity of 80, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legally, it's 80
Yeah.
when we're healthy.
Yeah.
But the governor still has restrictions for cultural events and such, especially where children in
Well,
facilities with
indoors,
children.
I'm sure it's
So
gonna take a while.
It's like, yeah, I had to. Well, I got good at it over the when originally we opened. It was 25% capacity, and then it was 40% capacity. And it's like, okay, what's our building capacity, or how many people can we have in here? But yeah, so programming, at least so far, is going very well. We are planning to take August off from programming, except for like the knitters coming in, just because that's usually our month that we see so few people. So we're going to kind of have August as a rest and recharge, and then start right back up in September with, we already have 2 adult programs scheduled in September, so. And I know Lita's working on, we talked today about scheduling some programs for her for the fall, so.
I
So-
thoroughly enjoyed Dr. Rachel.
Yeah, we've actually had a couple of people ask if we can bring her back.
Yeah.
And I was like, maybe not right away, but yeah, I mentioned how much our folks enjoyed her, and she is willing to do it again.
Yeah,
So,
she's good.
perhaps next year we could have her back.
Yes.
What was that program?
She is a certified cat behaviorist,
Yeah,
and
both
her
my cats came into the room as she was speaking,
Yeah.
so there must have been something. that was-
but her goal, she doesn't charge for her programs. Her goal is to enable people to keep their pets. So if you have a pet with weird behavior, it did make me very grateful that my cat is so mellow that all of the things that other people were like, how do I get my cat to ride in the car? I'm like, I don't know. I put his bow tie on and a leash, and off we go.
There you go.
Linda does.
Never a good trip for my cats.
Oh, gosh.
Always put 'em in a
It
cage.
sounded
Kinda tough.
Getting them into the.
trauma.
I
So-
did take some tips from her, though. Some of them I'd already been doing, so it's.
I
like,
went home and
I'm
told
in
my
trouble.
cats that I was grateful that I did not have to ask any questions. They were all very well behaved, so.
Can I ask a quick question about the like the story times and the
Mhm.
kids? So I wanted to make it over today, but it rained all day. Is the fencing on the side with like the grass and the tree that you
Right.
expanded, or is it on the side where you did the programs?
It's
the Earth Day
so it's
programs?
on the side, the children's wing side.
So all pavement.
No,
No,
there
there's
is
grass.
grass. There's
No,
a
there's
grass
grass.
lot there.
Going out of the
Um,
Fells room, the door going out of the Fells room.
Yeah, so where the dogwood tree that looks like a chicken is, it's
yeah,
right
the
out-
little tree.
Yeah, that is
So
that
if
is
you're looking
all.
at the entrance,
It's to the
To the
right.
It's
right.
to your
To
right.
the
To the
right.
right.
to the right.
Yes,
Yeah.
but in order to
Right.
get to it, you will
Children's
have to go
side.
through the children's room, because it's all.
Is it in the back?
No, it's the side.
It's in the front.
The
It's
front
the
and the
grass
side.
front lawn.
Don't
The
worry.
grass lawn.
You'll
You'll
it
find
will
a
be
way.
very obvious when you get there
Oh, yeah,
because
the
the
orange
fencing.
fence you can't miss.
How much is grass and how much is
Most
like,
of it is grass. There's only
pavement?
like 4 parking spaces are blocked off. It's mostly grass.
Because I know for Earth Day we were like
In the
pavement.
parking lot. Yeah, no. We won't. It's mostly grass.
And there's not more grass on the other side. with trees.
Similar.
But you
No,
don't think
it's
it's just the
more.
children
I
and
don't know.
children
I think
area?
there's more.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
we don't have enough space to block off the other where patrons wouldn't be.
Yeah.
We want the children to be.
So,
Just children
but
and
we're gonna have
parents.
everyone enter through the building and go through the side door, the children's room door, out into that space, so we do not have any small children run over, which is
Always a plus.
this is my goal in life.
It's a goal. yeah.
But it is
Good goal.
very obvious when you get to
Oh,
the
I'm
library.
sure.
Fencing
it's
is
the orange plastic.
Yes,
You got it,
and
you get it.
Behind the orange
the highway
house.
department informed me that because we were children, it had to be 4 feet high. So it is the high fencing. There's
It's probably what they used at the baseball fields
It's
before. in
very
fencing room,
lovely.
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember that orange.
Yes.
Very much.
Same
But-
thing.
yeah. So it most of it will be on grass.
Mhm.
Yeah, and Lita was testing out her.
Does she have a throne?
She is actually going to try the first week. She wants to try walking around while she does story time to try to get, because normally the kids are right in front of her and in a very close
And they
group.
want to see the
and-
pictures.
Yeah, so this way she can interact with them a little bit more. So she's going to try that for the
Can
first
she
week.
do it outside without a microphone?
She has a microphone.
Oh, she has it.
We have a
She's
portable.
so soft-spoken that
We have
she's
a
already
portable.
thought of that.
We have a
I was
portable
gonna say, I
amplifier.
would
We've
hear it.
actually had it since the Earth Day programming. We have a
great.
portable amplifier, so she is good to go.
Good.
But yeah, so it's going to be a busy month or two at the library.
Always is.
Yeah.
That's what we're there for.
Well, it's good because in the training, Pat had sent me the link to the
MBLC
yes.
orientation, yeah.
And one of the big things was like, how do we get people to come back? Because
This has not been a problem for us.
well, and that's great because every time we're there looking at books, Miss Lee's like, "Yeah, I've seen all week," So
Yeah, no,
I think
we've-
it's starting now.
Yeah.
Been very quiet when I've been there.
Actually,
Yeah.
I think when I was there yesterday, and it was nice to see Tasha there too, I saw all the cars in the front lot, and when I first saw them, I didn't realize that the fencing was up there, and I realized why the cars were in front. But I thought it's a really good thing, because when people start seeing the cars.
People realize,
They'll
besides the nice
that
"We're
the
open"
library's
sign on the
open
front.
and-
Yeah, besides the
Yeah.
large blinking neon
Yeah.
sign that says we're
Yeah.
open. Yeah.
Everyone misses it though. Like I
Yeah, we
mentioned
have a
to
lot of
other
people that are
moms
like,
it's
"Oh, you
open.
have a sign?" Yes,
Yeah.
we have a very large sign.
Right, yeah.
It's
So-
bright, you can't miss it.
You can.
But we
For
have
you.
actually for the
do.
past month or so we've been but typically people come in spurts. Like you have quiet periods and then you have 20 people at once. But we've been pretty busy for the past month or so.
Yeah, probably because summer's coming. And
Yeah.
they're excited about summer reading,
Yeah.
and Miss Lee said she was
School's
going to
out.
schools, right? So now the
Yes.
kids are like, "Oh, it's open.
Yeah.
Let me go."
We're getting this is the time of year and we get a lot of people, a lot of kids coming in for summer reading books. So budget, we are in good shape. Obviously, we are working to try and get as close to zero on that materials line item as humanly possible before the end of the year. But we have, as of last week, we had met our state requirement.
We have.
good.
So
Wonderful.
we're good shape. We're in good shape for that.
Good.
But yeah, we're down to, as of last week, we're down to, I think, $3,300 in that line. So
Yeah, I noticed there were a lot of new books.
yes, well, we decided we replaced all of the college prep and
stuff,
testing
yeah.
books. We replaced all of our job hunting and resume writing books because so many of those were over 10 years old.
It changes. yeah.
And then, of course, all of the summer reading books. Of course, half the summer reading lists are things that we did not have this year. So
Well, it's too bad that they didn't get that list to you sooner. Like
Yeah,
Rita
this
said,
is
there
a
seemed to
this
be
is an
a little
ongoing
disconnect
This is an
there.
ongoing problem, though. This
Yeah.
is, and it's not just. I should say it's not just Dudley. It is every library. It's like pulling teeth to get the summer reading list. But this year, it just happened that a lot of the things were new to the summer reading list, so we had this sudden influx of. And when we buy summer reading books, we buy 2 and 3 copies because you're gonna have multiple kids needing them. So we had this massive influx of every Michael Crichton book ever written, among other things. But we are in good shape to finish out the year for that. So.
Excellent.
So facility report, if you have gone one way down Schofield Avenue, you will notice that half of our digital sign is not functioning. The part
Again?
for that is, it's the other half.
The other half.
So the part for that is on order. It shipped on Friday, and as soon as we have that, the gentleman from Graphics Unlimited has us on the list. So as soon as we have the part, they will be up here to fix that. With the multiple power fluctuations that we had last weekend, of course, we had nothing major with the building for how long, and now, anyhow. 2 of our security cameras decided to show static. They are 2 that are areas of the building that we overlap with other cameras, but anyhow, I have a call into Rockfern to come do something about that. And the HVAC system, it seems that Fran from House has been up twice. He tried to remote in, which they've always been able to do. The short version is that the mechanical stuff is controlled by a computer. And the computer is now 11 years old. Computers don't last for 11 years. So there is a computer part on order, which should be here this week, in theory, and will come. The mechanical part is working just fine. It's the ability to tell the computer to tell the mechanical stuff what to do.
It's that technology.
What it's doing is we can tell it what to do using the wall panels, but then it resets itself every day because the computer itself is not. And Fran was here in person and attempted to use he has like a little tablet that plugs directly into the system, and it wouldn't even let him reboot it. It was, so that was what he ordered the part, and it will be here. But that part at least can come out of the Green Incentive Grant funding, so that does not come out of our regular budget.
But we can rent out refrigeration space.
Well, it's been like today. It was very humid in the building,
That's unusual.
Yeah, it was very sticky. So it's
that's a new twist.
We're not sure what so we keep going to the wall panels and adjusting, but then when we come in the morning, it's reset itself. So
just
anyhow,
keeps getting better.
it's the joys of a building like this. This
The
happens.
joys of a building being 10 years old.
Yeah. So we've hit.
This is when things start.
10 or 11 years old is when a lot of systems start, especially the
I think ours started
computer-controlled
about
ones
2.
start to go. But so anyhow,
That
so
was a
all
good
of
one.
the various calls are in, and various parts are on their way and so on. It's just going to be a week or 2 before we get everything slotted in.
Yeah. Well, back 10 years ago, when we were applying for leads, we ended up getting things that were not necessarily nationally used. So like the HVAC system.
Yeah, well, that's why we
We
have.
were ahead of our time.
That's why we have
In somewhat of a
Fran.
mistake.
Yeah.
Our HVAC system, Fran, so we have, Nicole, since you're new, we have 2 companies that maintain our HVAC system. One does the actual mechanical stuff, and one does the computer type stuff. And Fran, who's from the computer side of things, I think over the past 10 years, their business has grown. And so he now covers like the entire state of Massachusetts. So when he comes in, I usually meet him at the library at about 6 a.m. so that he can get us done and then go on to wherever he's going. But yes, he was here and he kept shaking his head and muttering, and I was like, that's not a good sign. But anyhow, so all of the parts are on order and all of the things will be fixed. It's just, they're getting there.
And in the meantime, you're working on the wall things. You guys
Yeah,
are
we work
freezing
the
to
wall
death
things.
over
What's funny is like my office today was hot. I actually took my jacket off because it was hot and sticky in there. And then
That's not
That's
usually the
been
case.
so bizarre.
in the
Yeah, that's very
workroom,
different.
the workroom was sticky, but out at the desk was cold. It was very. I'm like, I don't know what it's doing, but
Bring all kinds of weather.
we all wear
weather
layers.
Gear. Yeah,
We wear
to be able
layers.
to work.
That's what we
Bring all
do.
kinds of gear.
It's part of the training.
Those
Be
lockers
prepared.
are gonna get used now for clothing.
There's a staff fleece.
Oh, there
There's a
is,
staff.
okay.
There's been apparently for years. There's a staff fleece, and it gets passed around. Okay, I'm leaving the desk. Here's the fleece. But anyhow, so of course everything decided to go at once, which is how it always works. But and we did have a brief issue with the children's bathroom, but R.L. Spall was out and fixed it the same day, and
Cool.
that was easy. Of course, he showed up thinking we were going to have to snake the drains
Oh,
again.
yeah.
And
That
it-
was my first thing. Was
no,
Snake
and
from
actually
one end of the building to the
all
other.
it was
That's not
swapping, as I understand it, because he and George George was the one who found the problem,
Yeah.
so he and George were dealing, and all it was taking one part out and putting a new part in.
Oh,
So,
Good.
because he was all prepared, and I was like, I don't think, no, that's not what's going on.
Not a matchbox toy today.
But anyhow, so like I said, everything decided to. But it should all be better in another week or two. It should all be fixed.
Okay.
So.
All right. We hope that
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I hope so. MLA Studios, the landscape project survey update.
The surveyors were there on Thursday.
Mm-hmm.
There were people clomping around in the woods, and then they were back yesterday
Mm-hmm.
all over the site. I don't know, like, if they were trying to. I didn't ask. They were out there with their surveying equipment. I was like, you know what you need to do.
Looking for pins, probably.
But they have been there. They have told, the email I got yesterday said that they should have it turned in by Friday. That is their goal, to have the completed survey to MLA by Friday. So.
And then what would the next?
My understanding is
be?
that then Studio MLA needs to review that,
Mhm.
and then the design brainstorming sessions are the next step after that, which are.
So, speaking of that, you sent out invitations?
Yes, so far I've heard back from some of the board members, so those of you who have not told me which session you're coming to, whether it's the morning or the afternoon session.
I can tell you morning.
Okay.
I have a meeting in the afternoon. I can't make
Okay.
it.
And I think I'm gonna have to be afternoon.
Okay.
Do you know what we're talking about, Nicole?
I do. I'm
Okay.
going to the afternoon meeting.
She's already
checking out
RSVP'd.
She
the
already
phases here.
Actually,
But so.
we're good time-wise.
The I've heard back from a couple of folks already. I got an email from the Conservation Commission asking that if they could attend. I have not heard back from the town planner. I have not heard back from any of the selectmen.
Okay.
But Michelle was making sure that they
Mhm.
actually opened the email. I've heard back from a couple of folks in the community and a couple of staff, but we're still. Lita was reaching out to a couple of her parents or grandparents of young children who come in.
Mhm.
So we have a couple of those who've already RSVP'd.
Do you have anybody from the Friends coming?
I have not heard back from the Friends yet. Jeannie, who is one of our volunteers and is the president of the Friends, told me this morning she still had to look at her calendar. So,
Okay.
but we've invited the Friends. I reached out to Peter Fox. I reached out to Anne-Marie Safai, and some other folks. So if I don't hear from them by Monday, I will.
Is there a cap on how many people they
Well,
are recommending we have?
They aren't really worried about it, but
Okay.
if we're going to be in the Fells room, we need to cap
Okay.
it.
All right, that's what I'm worried
So
about.
I'm
We're gonna
trying
keep it
to keep
20
it
per
to
session.
20 or so per session. They didn't really give me a cap. They did say that, not having like 50 people there did make it easier to
Yeah.
get a conversation going, but they were quite willing to work with whatever we brought in. But yeah, so I have sitting on my desk is my list for the morning and my list for the afternoon.
Okay.
And my understanding is that a couple days before, Studio MLA will send me to send out to the folks for each session some like things to think about, kind of points,
Yeah.
to kind of prepare for it.
Okay.
So
Drusilla, what about the abutters, the people who are the properties right next to the library? Would they be included in the invitations?
one of them is for sale, so it's going to be. I don't know if there's anyone there. I
I think
don't.
that's a reasonable idea to like offer that to them, to have
Yeah.
input on what's gonna
Good
happen
idea.
that abuts their property. Like, they may have a safety concern, or I think that's a really good idea.
Which
I
one's
really
for
do.
sale? The one-
Is it the one in-
Is
The
there
immediately
apartment
next to the library?
remodeling, the apartment building. right?
Yeah,
Three
once
story-
they
Yeah.
come, so
three-story
the
walk-up.
conservation committee, whenever you start doing, will then have a public hearing, and you have to
The
like.
abutters have
The
to,
abutters will
within
be
300
notified,
feet
so-
are,
Yeah.
within
Yeah.
300 feet, I think they're all
Exactly.
notified.
I think giving them
But I think
a friendly
planning
heads up
this-
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
would- And then to realize that this is not going to be a playground, it's going to be a
Yeah.
reading,
Most of the
quiet
property
place,
around
you
us
know.
is rental. The property that
Okay.
backs
Well,
up
that's
is
so
apartments
true.
and rentals.
Okay.
Right.
That is
It's
true.
not, they're not
Not
owner
owner,
occupied.
yeah.
Okay.
That's so true.
The one, because the one up behind is an actual apartment building, and then the ones on Schofield Ave are the 3-story, 3-unit
Okay.
I
houses.
still
so-
think
But I
sending it to
can
the owner,
send- yeah.
even though not that they're not owner occupied.
I'll have
has-
to,
I
I'll
think
see
it's-
if I can find out. I
Yeah.
may just have to send something to those street addresses.
Yep.
Because I don't know if I'm gonna be
Owner
able
of, or whatever.
Yeah.
Yep.
The assessors
We can find it at the assessor's office.
Well,
we
in
go.
theory.
I think to offer that, I think just to offer that
Yeah.
invitation
Okay.
is,
Mm.
So is
And that-
this?
And that could be something that MLA does. I mean, because that's just a little bit of homework they have to do, send out the invitations.
well, that
to
will
all
happen, it
well,
will happen,
that's
the
what I'm
abutters
saying.
will be notified when it goes in front of
Yeah.
the conservation committee, that is
At
definitely
some
gonna
point,
happen.
I'm wondering, like, is this really, like, are we too ahead of ourselves here? Since they will get later information. It's just
Well,
kinda
this
like our
meeting though
planning.
is to plan the space,
Yeah. So
and I
Yeah,
think.
it's the
I would
brainstorming
want-
session.
Yeah,
yeah.
I
So
would want their input.
Why
what
we're gonna-
exactly is it going to be? Like a garden area? Or is there a building going up? Because I'm just not.
I
Yeah,
think
well, that's
what
part
we're
of-
all
that's
gonna
part of
decide.
Yeah,
what
that's
we're
what
deciding.
We're gonna talk
Yeah.
about.
Yeah, that's part of what, so these brainstorming sessions are to give student MLA an idea of what the stakeholders would like to
Our
see.
vision, what we want to
And
see.
how they would like to see the property used. And then from that, they will come up with what will actually be on the site.
So there is
They'll come up with
possibly
design.
maybe a building, maybe a garden, maybe a.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah, at
very
this
up in
point,
the
it's
air at
very
this point.
wide open.
Okay.
Yep, that's why we're having the.
And depending
the-
on what does, we may not have to go before conservation.
Yeah.
There's no
Right.
water involved, there's
Right.
no,
Yeah.
we may not have to do that.
Right, no
Um,
pony or anything.
There's no wetlands, yeah,
Right.
exactly.
There's no wetland there.
Yeah,
There are some
Yeah.
pretty impressive
Yeah.
rocks.
There's
Yeah.
some
Yeah,
ledge,
that I
heard.
ledge for sure, yeah.
Is the survey getting registered with the County of Deeds?
I don't know,
We should probably do that, because then if we have to look it up again, it's there. Just
I mean, I
go
know
to the
that,
county office.
I will get a copy of it,
I
so
know.
like I was going to add the copy too, because I have all of the construction documents. So I was
Good
gonna
place to be included.
put it
Yeah.
in there so we have
But it should
it.
be registered. Let them register it, just because then it's
Okay.
there forever and ever. Because like, we don't have anything from when we built this 10 years ago.
That's something
And we
that we
should have.
could,
Which should be
that's a question
somewhere.
that we can put
Yeah.
out for MLA,
Yeah, yeah.
about registering it, is that something they were
I'll
gonna
ask
do?
them.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Moving on, updating the social media and any website or anything that we have for the library, has that all been updated with now we're open and the mask? Because when I looked at it last week, it hadn't changed.
Yeah, it decided to reset itself, so the interface that we use, to like update the website is a bit clunky.
Yep.
And I had set it and it decided to revert to a previous version, but it is corrected now.
Yeah, I didn't look at it today, so
Yeah,
it was
no,
last
it's-
week and I was like,
Because
oh, we
I
should
had
do that.
corrected and then I happened to go to look something up for someone and went,
Yeah.
okay, I fixed that. That
Okay.
went away. But it is now corrected.
Okay. So
Voicemails
our website and the Facebook.
Voicemails all updated,
And
all of that
everything,
stuff,
okay.
yep.
Cool.
Phones are still good?
The phones are good.
Amen.
I actually had a question about programming the phones, and I called Power 3, and I had an answer in 30 seconds. It was wonderful. It's like, oh.
Was it a right answer?
It was, in fact. I couldn't get my phone. So in order to program the different greetings, and we have that whole multi-tiered menu thing, and I could not from my phone get it to program one of the options, and I couldn't figure out why. And so I called them up and went, "What am I doing wrong?" And they went, "You have to be in the general mailbox account, not." Oh, okay, that would help. But
Like those easy answers.
I was, oh, okay.
That was neat.
Let me go to a different phone and hit that button, and it worked just fine. So that was good.
So are all of the issues with the phone?
Yes, the phones are all better. It's very exciting.
It's costly.
Probably just jinxed us.
Yeah, we just knock on that wood.
Yeah, let's hope it all works.
Yeah,
'cause that's
let's
very
knock
costly.
on wood.
What happened to if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
All right, any board members, oh no, I'm sorry,
One more.
jumping
Yeah,
ahead.
one more.
Update on job openings.
So we have offered the position to Dawn Massey of Dudley. We are waiting to hear back on the Cory check and the pre-employment physical before she is officially official.
Mhm.
so she's like semi-official right now.
She's accepted.
She's accepted, she
Just
is
the
ready to
particular-
go, but we need the final official paperwork
Right.
to,
Great.
so we're hoping to start her the beginning of July.
All right.
Good.
I'm sure that will all go well. Any board members' comments and/or observations?
The T-shirts were lovely.
Our summer reading T-shirts,
The
all of
inflatables were a delight.
the
The flowers going in to the children's
oh yes, if you
room.
haven't been into the children's room, Lita
Yes.
turned it into a jungle
Oh.
for the summer.
Oh.
And there's also some extra
Parrots
flowers
and-
and such around on the plexiglass around the circ desk.
It really,
Um,
it really
it's
took
very
away
festive.
the plexi. And gave you a whole new idea of how this could work.
But if you do come in over the summer, so there were official summer reading T-shirts that cost like $3 each. So we went ahead and bought them for each staff member. We all wore them for the kickoff, and then if you see someone in the library in a very, very, very green T-shirt, that is their summer reading T-shirt.
Okay.
They are extremely green, but you'll probably see them at various events through the summer.
Nice.
But it was fun that we were all kind of matching for opening. You know, everybody had their
Excellent.
summer reading kickoff.
Anyone else with comments or observations? No?
Good.
All right, so our next meeting will be July 27th at 6:15.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn,
Second.
second?
Second.
Thank you.